Welcome. I'm Beth Packman with the Greater Statesville Chamber of Commerce, and we are continuing our Meet the Candidate series. Today I have John Staford, who is running for Statesville City Council, Ward 5. Welcome, John.
Well, thank you, Beth, for having me. I really appreciate you doing this.
Awesome. It's been fun to get to meet everybody and let our voters have that potential as well.
Information is critical. Yes.
Speaking of which, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
My name's John Stafford. My wife and I moved to Statesville 27 years ago from California. We could have moved anywhere in the country. We chose Statesville. We absolutely love this city, fell in love with it early on, and came back 2 or 3 different times over the years and anchored in that this was where we were going to move to and never looked back.
Okay.
My daughter just moved here from Huntington Beach, California, about 6 months ago, and just bought a beautiful house right around the corner from us.
I'm sure it's much less expensive to buy a house here than Huntington Beach. Yes. Oh. So why are you running for city council?
Well, I did it a few years ago. When we moved to this town, I see and still see a lot of potential in this city. And it was moving in a direction that I felt was not taking advantage of that potential. The council that we had at that time wanted to see us more of a bedroom community and mostly filled with retail and residential, and folks would have to jump on 77 or 40 to go to their place of employment. And I felt that was a huge mistake. I feel that people should be able to work in the community that they live in. And so we reversed that trend considerably. While we were on council, we did about $1 billion worth of commercial incentives. And at that time, the entire tax base of the city was less than $5 billion. So it was a 20% increase of our commercial, well over 20%, probably closer to 35%.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You ready to get into some questions?
I will give it a try.
Okay. What do you think the city does well from a service provision standpoint, and what are its most glaring needs?
Well, we do property management, and so I know the guys in the trenches, I call them, quite well, and they are excellent in all of the departments. Fabulous streets, water and sewer, electric. You do not realize what a blessing it is to live in a city where you can call somebody and actually have someone answer the phone and come out and fix something. The guys do a fabulous job. I cannot dote on them enough. I think where we lose it a little bit is once we go inside the red building. We have a little bit of disconnect at that point. But we provide great services. Statesville is a little bit unique in that it owns its own electric department. And we have had that since the early 1800s or late 1800s. And so we have great potential for this city to do great things, but we need to be prudent in how we get about it. We're about 25% less than the average for Iredell County for wage in Statesville, and we have to work to bring that up. It's critical.
Okay. All right. What is your definition of smart growth, and what is your general philosophy on the growth currently happening in Statesville?
Well, I wouldn't say the current growth is smart. This idea of annexing, satellite annexation, every time a developer comes along is going to end up biting us. We can look at municipalities to the south of us and see what it's done to them. You have, every time you do that, you've got to provide fire, you've got to provide police, you've got to provide water and sewer, not to mention streets and such. And so it's harder and harder to do as you spread out. When I came on council, the population, or when we moved here, the population was about 25,000. When I went on council, the population was still about 25,000. But the footprint of the city had grown by about 30%. This told me that the core of our city was hollowing out. We were rotting in the core. And so one of our big pushes was to incentivize infill, and we've done a good job at that, but we have to do better. You'll see a lot of new infill popping up, but beside it, you're going to see a property possibly that's quite dilapidated and not upkept. And it's important that we get more home ownership, especially in our south side. It's about 80% rentals. And it's critical that we get more home ownership there. And to do that, people aren't going to invest and banks aren't going to loan on a property that doesn't meet certain criteria, and one of those things is that if the neighborhood around it is looking a little shoddy, they're not apt to loan to the value that they need to get that house, because new construction's expensive. Sure. So infill was critical. One of the things we did was eliminate system development fees if there had been a house there. When I came on council, they bragged about tearing down 87 homes. And my big pitch was it wasn't the home's fault, it was the owner's fault. Mm. And all those homes were potential moderate, low-income houses. And with the house gone, now you lost minimum housing standards, you lost code enforcement standards, so you had an unmaintained vacant lot that nobody wanted that in the neighborhood either. And you lost tax base. So it just wasn't a good program, and we reversed that trend, and I'm real proud of that.
Okay, all right. As a council member, how will you go about working with your peers, the other council members and the mayor, to get things done?
Well, it takes 5 votes. And so the first thing you want to do is, I would think, and what we've done in the past, is you sit down and you find what you can agree on. And you may disagree with a person on 85%, but work on that 15%. And if that's 15% is something, an idea of theirs that you hadn't thought of, or an idea of yours that you're trying to get them to come around to, that's how we got it done. I mean, we never had a majority on the council, but we got an awful lot done. And so that's by just reaching out and making those friendships and working together.
Okay.
And common sense goes a long way.
It does indeed.
I mean, you can be completely different sides of the fence, and common sense will prevail. And if it's for the greater good of the city, it's for the greater good of the city. And there's not just anything for one ward. It's the city as a whole. If it's good for Ward 5, it's good for Statesville, and vice versa.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How important is investing in quality of life improvements such as parks, greenways, and sidewalks for our existing residents and for attracting new residents to Statesville?
I think it's critical. Parks are a component that you have to plan for because they take large spaces of land typically, and you've got to work with that. We have sidewalks or fee in lieu of funds that are supposed to be paid for any time a development goes in. It doesn't make sense to build 3 homes and have to put sidewalk in front of those 3 homes when there's no other sidewalks. So those developers pay a fee in lieu, and that goes into a general fund, and then we can put sidewalks in other parts of the city where we have missing links in the chain. And then when it comes time to do the street that that was done, the city pays for that out of their own funds, because that's how it works. So you kind of just try and fill in your missing gaps. I was disappointed that when I was on council, we voted to put sidewalks down Stockton Street and also down Alexander Boulevard, and those still haven't been put in. Yeah, walkability is critical. Transportation, safety for children and folks walking. And I was driving with Costi a while back in a neighborhood over off of Front Street, East Front Street, and I showed him, I said, Costi, I want to show you, these are people just walking to be walking. And that wasn't something you saw there 20 years ago. Sure. And now it is, and that's what you want. You want home ownership into that neighborhood. You want vested interest in that neighborhood. You want people walking that neighborhood and being proud of where they live. Yeah. Yep. And that our whole city can be that way.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it for the questions.
Well, that wasn't too terrible.
It wasn't, was it? If you want to take a minute and share with potential voters any closing remarks.
Well, we did this once before. I did this once before. Didn't think I was going to be doing it again. Joe Hudson, who beat me in the last election, was turning out to be a very fine councilman, and I had no issues with letting him run with it because it takes an inordinate amount of time to do this.
It does.
To do it right. And but when Steve Johnson stepped down and Jap Johnson stepped down and Joe was stepping down and Costi stepping down, I just felt there was going to be a void in council, and I was willing to give another 4 years. I can tell you it's not going to be another 8 years, but I would be willing to give another 4 years at it. Yes.
All right. Well,
And
great.
if I have the trust of the folks, I'd appreciate them considering voting for me.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for coming
Well,
in
thank
today.
you so much. God bless.
Thank you.